Hey, Brent.
Hey, John.
How are you?
How are you? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay.
Just okay?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get into it.
What's going on, buddy?
I was thinking, we do a fair bit of driving for our jobs,
We certainly do.
like thousands of miles a month.
That's pretty accurate, actually.
Is that? Yeah, thousands of miles a month. In
Yeah.
fact, probably hit 1,000 a week sometimes.
This week I'm going to be coming close to 1,000 miles.
So between all the driving,
Yeah.
there's a lot of time, or in with all the driving, there's a lot of time. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. My interests are broad, and they vary. And one thing I'm really fascinated with is technology, all things technology.
Okay.
But as it relates to what we do with driving, is autonomous vehicles.
So you're listening to podcasts about technology. You're not listening to the best podcast out there? I mean, Odd and Aimless?
Well, there hasn't been.
Arguably.
Yeah. Well, I live it. So
That's true.
Yeah. So, and that would be a little bit narcissistic if I just ride around listening to myself.
I didn't say it. You did.
Yes. Well, so no, I listen, watch a lot of stuff, read a lot of stuff about technology. And, like I was saying with autonomous vehicles, that seems to be pretty much in the forefront. In fact, it's actually weird. And I think you can probably attest to this, or you can relate. Is it the rise of the number of like Tesla vehicles I see on the road?
Yeah. I actually saw one today. Pulling a trailer, like a camper.
Was it an electric trailer?
Probably. I mean, aren't
Yeah.
they kind of all?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I actually did. Maybe were you the one that told me about it? About the idea of a trailer with batteries to
Yes.
extend the distance.
I did. I was actually watching another YouTube channel. I wish I could remember the name, but
I think I know the guy.
yeah. He made a trailer out of the Tesla batteries that, the full battery pack that comes in the regular Tesla. Just kind of used the frame,
Like the chassis. Yeah. Okay.
put some wheels on it, and turned it into an actual hauling trailer, which was pretty neat.
Yeah. So I wonder, we don't have to go into the whole thing like
Yeah.
truckers and stuff, but if you look at a segment of the working population or whatever, what would you call it? A profession that does a lot of driving.
Mhm.
It would obviously be outside salespeople that drive around, especially like regional people that cover multiple states. So you would think they would maybe stand to be one of the groups that would stand to benefit the most from. Now, obviously, Tesla is, well, I don't know if I'd say they're most known, for their vehicles being electric, but I think that is slowly being overtaken by the fact that they are also experimenting a lot with autonomous driving.
Yeah.
Autopilot, whatever you want to call it.
There's definitely a cool factor with that new technology.
Could you see yourself doing that? Like if I'm not going to say tomorrow, you don't have to put a time limit on it, but eventually, if they were to say, hey, listen, you can just take your hands off and it will, let's just say on the interstate, we'll leave like, surface roads alone. But if it's like, hey, you get on the freeway, you hit a little button or big button, I don't know, and it does everything, would you take your hands off the wheel?
Oh, I would absolutely. I'd be paying close attention to what the car's doing, obviously, since, you see a lot of videos of, I don't know if there's a lot out there in comparison to how many Teslas are on the road, but yeah, you see a lot of vehicles that are accusing Tesla of wrecking and, fatalities, cars bursting into flames. But yeah, I would definitely try it out. And I would love to do that. I think that'd be really neat.
Would you ever be willing to take your eyes off the road?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet. But I think we're close.
Well, I guess that's what I think about is what would it take to where you would. I mean, I don't think that if they were just to make a declaration, Tesla or otherwise, because there's actually a lot of companies and that are building systems for autonomy and stuff, and you have LiDAR with stuff like I think it's Waymo or whatever, and then you have
Tesla does not use LiDAR.
Correct. But if they were just to simply come out and say, okay, we're good now. We're good. You're good.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be, I'd have to do some research on that, because what are they basing good off of? Is it, 1 out of every 400,000 miles traveled in a Tesla, there's an accident, or it's completely accident free?
Elon came out recently, and I think the number is they've accumulated data on like 1.5 billion miles driven amongst all their, I think they have like 400,000 or a couple 100,000, whatever, Teslas on the road that are feeding them information.
So does that data include how many major or minor, fender benders up until, fiery crashes?
Yeah. And not to, of course, I don't know the technical term for it, but the big thing is they're talking about like kind of 90% of driving, especially on the interstate, is I'm not gonna say basic, but it's point A to point B, keeping the lanes. But they talk about the 10%. I can't think of the term, but it's when something odd comes up, like construction zone,
obstacle on the road,
on the road, stuff like that, where it's not the ordinary. It's something cases or something, and that's what they're trying to train the systems to both recognize and react to. And there's actually a case in California right now where unfortunately a person did pass away. They were killed in a Tesla crash, and I think it did involve a construction zone where there was like a car in front of them and it moved out of the way, and the vehicle like drove right into a barrier or something. If I understand or remember correctly, it was a construction zone. So it's one of those kind of like odd scenarios for a vehicle. Now for us, we would recognize it, so that's kind of a difficult thing. But I guess I'm interested to know, when would you have enough confidence to
kind of lay back and go to sleep?
Yeah, which actually, this is another weird thing, is listening about it is, I don't think, at least not in the near future, even at the beginning of, if you want to talk about, well, they've broken it down into different levels of autonomy. But I don't know if they're actually talking about a time where you're ever not paying attention. Like you're never not ready to take control at any given moment.
Yeah, and there's some kind of safety features built in. I mean, I've never been in a Tesla. I don't know if you have.
No, but I've heard they're pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. But there's some safety features built in that you have to have your hand in the vehicle, or
it has sensors.
Beeps at you. And
which there's actually videos on YouTube of like clamps and stuff, how to get around it.
I've seen somebody actually stick an orange in the steering wheel.
I heard about the orange thing too.
But going back to the one you were talking about, well, another similar one you were talking about, it was out in California. I was just watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was showing the autopilot kind of swerving into, it was a construction zone, but it was swerving into a barrier.
Yeah.
So, and it showed he just kept, looping around and going to the same one. Obviously, he was paying attention and holding on. But yeah, sure enough, it was, swerving left right into the barrier.
Correct.
So I think what they're saying is it's programmed to run over an obstacle at highway speeds, which if it's, an animal or something, that's horrible, but, you're going to be okay. And if there's a bumper in the road, you're going to drive through it. It's going to cause less damage than slamming on your brakes and,
Well, yeah, and I won't get into it, but this one podcast I was listening to, that's what they actually brought it up, is the idea of the system reacting. And I guess that's like the third or fourth level. And I guess that's what I meant by like true autonomy, is not only can it get you from point A to point B, but it can actually react to anything and everything between there, such as the situation you're describing. And I guess that's what I wonder is, when would I be comfortable, if ever, saying, okay, it's going to handle whatever comes up?
Well, I'd say if technology keeps going the way it does with these vehicles, we're looking at the next 5, maybe even sooner years before it's, I don't know if it'll ever be legal to be completely, hands off. You can snooze in the back seat or something if you want, but we're close. I think we're, obviously closer than we've ever been before. But I think it's in the near future. I'd say within the next 5 years or so.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk, in his last presentation, when he was talking about, again, the data they've been able to collect, he's making some pretty bold claims time-wise. I mean, I think he was saying like within a year or two.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, that's impressive. I mean, I hope he can do it, because I think that's a great technology to have if it's perfected.
But would you?
Yeah.
Would you put all your faith in it?
I wouldn't at first. I would drive several thousand miles as I do every day. Well, not every day, but every month or so, and build some trust. Now, I don't know if I would ever fall asleep, because I'm just. There's never.
Wouldn't that be glorious though?
It would.
You're just going along and you're like,
at that point,
I could take a nap right now.
At that point, you just want to, hire a driver, get an Uber.
Oh.
But that's a whole different, conversation.
Do you think you could expense that? You're like, sorry, boss, I had to take an Uber for 300 miles because I was tired.
No, I don't think that one.
You should try it.
I think you should try it first, and then
you
let me know how it goes.
No, you try it, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. So, I think you should try that. I say you should. So, we appreciate you.
Give me a Tesla, and I'd rather try that.
Yeah. Well, this is John and soon to be unemployed Brent when he tries to expense a $400 Uber ticket or expense or whatever. So, but anyway, if you liked what you heard, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. And
what do you guys think? I mean, would you drive a Tesla, completely hands off, laying back, snoozing, listening to some, whatever you listen to?
I'm interested, like I said, to find out like at what point you would trust.
Yeah. What do you think? At what point would you trust?
Yeah. So let us know. And so anyway, for Odd and Aimless, I'm John, and that's Brent, and we will see you next time. Take care.